What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investor, and thank you for joining at another fantastic live stream. We're going to be looking at, again, what happened in the market, kind of the after effects of what we saw with, of course, the Apple, the Amazon, of course, Apple running up today about $40 and slitty hitting basically near all-time highs on the coattails of the stock split and everything. So there's got a lot of things that are going to be happening without a doubt the next coming week or so. We're going to be doing more or less a recap and looking at some potential guidelines on some stocks going upward. What up, Alpaca, my friend? Thank you for joining. Can you hear me okay? Just give me a thumbs up or something like that within the chat would be great. Again, test the microphone multiple times and we'll see how that goes. Meanwhile, I looked at Love when you were, I just read your comment stating that you were saying that you got out of it. Again, it's still in that squeeze like we talked about it. That's kind of broken to the downside. Again, it's really needs to kind of start seeing the 5 and 8 moving averages to kind of start leveling off here to kind of see things kind of slowly get back to normal without a doubt there. Audio is good. Thank you, Alpaca. I appreciate that. Again, let's just wait for a couple more folks to join and we'll get this show on the road. I just released a video today regarding about some of the crazy stuff that I've seen on Wall Street Bets. I got some funny comments about the thumbnail. People appreciate the thumbnail without a doubt. DMC 8282. So the snack that I brought, which I already ate because I'm just that kind of guy. I ate a bowl of cereal. I ate a bowl of Honey Nut Cheerios, and then I scarfed that down with a Coke. What was it? Not Coke. I mean, that sounded terrible. With coconut covered chocolates. That's how I roll. I was polishing some kind of ball there, Ryan, if you know what I mean. What does Ken do on the weekend? Video game? I do video games a little bit. I normally just I like to read, and I like to do I like to take walks, and I just like to hang out with the family on the weekend, and I like to look at charts. That's what Ken does on the weekend. A Miller Lite, tall boy. Yeah, I only normally do drink if there's a celebration to go on, which there should be a celebration today on the amount of money from Apple and Amazon that I made today. But yeah. DMC 8282. I would be very careful with that. I don't want to get in between that. Yes, I do. I have one child, Ryan. I love the game, but I just not have found a great game to game with, honestly. It's just what's a good game right now? I'm very competitive when I game, so I've played a lot of Counter-Strike back in the day. I got into Overwatch pretty heavily, played the reincarnation of StarCraft. I get whatever is the most competitive game, sign me up. I want to play that. I know what's the new game that I just saw a lot of people talking about? Valorant. I think it's like from the folks from League of Legends. I saw that game. A couple of my the Steam friends that I have that they play that game. It's like a 4 co-op mission kind of based stuff. Ryan, you took the words right out of my mouth. it very much so. You're in you talking to some of the other teammates, and they're like, you hear their mom yelling in the back. You're like, huh, what am I doing with my life? So then I try to pick up a book, and trying to expand my knowledge of learning programming of Python to write my own scripts for charts and potentially build my own algorithm. I play Robinhood and win. There we go, Roberts. All right, looks like we've got a good folks showing up now. Let's go ahead and just dive in. I was just looking at Love because Alpaca was saying that it was tanking, and we're just talking about potentially kind of just trading in this box, looking for this lower band, potentially coming down to 28. But again, I don't really want to touch the airlines with a 10-foot pole right now. Let's go to SPY actually. Let's jump into this. Yes, Alpaca, that is great. The wife does Trump, no pun intended, video games. Trading Trump's video games, yeah. Trading money Trump's video games. Because then you make enough money, you're just like, whatever, like, yeah. Robinhood always Robinhood always wins. They win because they just need to unplug their servers and then they'll always win, right? All right, so let's go ahead and look at SPY now. So we're going to be jumping into just the daily chart here, just doing a nice little fresh Fibonacci retracement from the swing high to swing low, looking for a potential seeming pattern. We're still kind of really holding above this 78.6 percentile move, which is really great. And again, we're still above the 21 and 34, which is also a significant move. We did have a push higher again due to a lot of the great news and everything. We did see the parabolic SAR switch, which is a great sign for a potential trend. We see the RSI was peaking up. The volume zone oscillator did not go below zero. This is also great stuff. But really need to break this level of just closing above that 327, potentially kind of hanging around here and trying to start pushing higher to around 339 up here. Selling options are working better than buying. Correct, Ryan. So welcome to the dark side, aka the premium side. You're gonna love it. You're like, oh, I only made $50 on some. I could have made 200, but like, just remember, you're on that 80 percentile win rate, and wouldn't you rather win 80% of the time, $50 instead of potentially losing? Yeah, the math really is just really there. Without just selling premium is just, I think, the go-to strategy with a lot of options. There are times when you should buy straight calls, and I still do that, and they make a pretty good, decent return. AKA, I bought Logitech. AKA, what else did we buy recently? Activision. We bought some of that. Talking about video games, Nvidia. We did some of Microsoft. We bought some actually in Square about a couple days ago. I bought some in Square. Ryan, yep, you took the words right out of my mouth again. All right, so let me just recap the S&P 500 real fast, and then we'll just jump over to whatever tickers that the good old folks in the chat want to talk about. Okay, folks? So again, really kind of still in a chop mode. The trend is still trying to continue going higher. I can kind of get rid of this box here. That box was initially just trying to break above that lower part of the top band of it. Really kind of holding this 21, which is what we kind of really used here. What we use here to kind of track the trend here. We did it, and we didn't ever close below it. This is great. Seeing this potentially, see how it plays out. We're not have a squeeze, but we do have quite a significant amount of volume that came in today. So normally, this is not, again, this is just playing the numbers. Potentially, with such a strong close, with that, see how strong that candle is right there? With it just so much of the buying pressure just really just sucked all the sellers and killed all the bears. If Mr. Bears in chat, I apologize. We basically killed all the bears if you're a bull, and really closed at the tippy top of that candle. This could be pretty considerable amount of momentum coming into Monday. So we could see the folks who are just sitting on their hands saying like, oh snap, that was a great move. We could gap up Monday and see some potential high, pretty substantial movements, and then potentially kind of consolidate there over the next couple days. All right, so that being said, let's go ahead and just jump into some things. Looks like quite a few people have already put their things up. If I haven't got to it, Samir, let's go with Square and Walmart. Yes, I think that's the first one, right? The other ones we were just talking about are wives. Square. So Square is one that we bought into about we saw it trigger the 21 here, but we didn't buy in it completely. We bought in longer term options probably in October. When did I buy that? I bought that about one in September. Okay, why did I do that? One in September and then one in December. And we bought the 135 and the 125. So one was basically out of the money, one's in the money, for this to continue going higher. I honestly was being a little bit too bullish on it. I think I actually did sell one. Let me look. I did sell the 125, that one in the money. So that was this pretty more substantial move than I thought in this short time frame, and I must have got well over 20 or well over 50% in that short period of time. But with Square, looking for that movement to continue, the only thing is we do have earnings on the horizon. That is going to be that question mark that we need to be very mindful of and seeing how that plays out. Yes, the overall PayPal was kind of a hit and miss with Visa and things like that. So we can kind of look on how PayPal played out. Not saying it's going to be the same sense where it did gap up, and it was actually, I remember now, it actually was down during the trading or after market trading hours, but then it gapped up great the next morning because, again, whoever wants to spend it a certain direction. And then you wanted the Walmart. So Walmart, had that huge gap up, really failed here at that previous high, made a couple highs, never was able to close above that 133 like we talked about. Kind of was starting to kind of curl around, start coming around. Didn't hold the 130 price target as well. Really close to it. I would consider this still somewhat of a hold of the 78.6 percentile move there. It's still above the 21. It did come down to the 34 and tap it. I think this is, again, if I was trading this, in my opinion, I would potentially start a small position here. Just to be mindful, you do have earnings in about 2.5 weeks from here to see on how this trades into potentially going higher or lower. Downward support is going to be coming in around 127 to the upward band of trying to get back above that 133.38 to try to break above those levels here, because you can see that there was quite a bit of consolidation and never really having to be able to close above it is pretty substantial. It just kind of was failed, retreated, but it's kind of its tail between its legs, and now it needs to kind of come through. If we start seeing the 5 and 8 cross through the 21, we could potentially see coming back down to the 50% retracement, which is around 125 there. So be very mindful of that, my friend. Ryan, I sold a bunch of my SPY put credit spreads, 323 expiring Monday. Looking good so far. Okay, nice. Alexander, October 1st, layoffs for all airlines. How will this affect their stock? I work for the third largest airline. I don't know who the third largest airline is. Is that Love? I don't know who the third largest. I thought it was like United, Delta, and then I don't know who's next. That really. I hope that your job's safe there, Alexander. That really sucks. I think it would definitely affect it because it's going to be. I can't tell you to what extent. but we can kind of look at JETS, which is the overall ETF that covers all the airlines. It just hasn't been trading well due to the fact of, I'm sure you already know this, working in the third largest airline company, Alexander, where it's just not many people are flying. Like, not many people are traveling. The business travel is not really picked up. People are not really going on vacations, and it's just basically more folks are just not doing that. James looking at we can look at Moderna. They're getting a lot of crap. Oh no, it's about Marathon. I thought you were talking about Moderna. So I don't know what this company is, but it's a penny stock, and I really can't talk too much about this because it's James. So I don't know if you're new. We normally don't talk about stocks that are under that were just recently under a couple pennies or under $1 because they're somewhat easily manipulated. That being said, that's just my personal what I've learned and what I've seen through my trading years. But that being said, it wasn't looking great before the pandemic. Now it's kind of looking somewhat shabby, really breaking above that 200-day. Again, this is just a lot of fear and FOMO going on here. I really can't really talk too much about it because it's not gives a great picture for me to do my technical analysis on. DMC 8282. I'm getting whipped in Citi. I own it at 54. I had a good money this week on Microsoft. Can you teach me on how to buy options? I'm scared. So I don't know how to teach people things because I'm actually probably a horrible ass teacher. With Citi, again, with a lot of the bank stocks, this kind of been beaten up. We're still in a pretty long squeeze here. Our assigned volumes on Oscar are not looking pretty. We're in the lower part of my alerts here, which is basically like a trading range here that we're talking about. So if this starts breaking below like 49 or 50 bucks, this could be some potential further downside. Potential to that downside, we can kind of give you that perspective there. So we're going to do the Fibonacci extensions from the previous high to the low, to the high again. And you can kind of see here it's kind of failed through, and of course it ping. There we go. Good boy. So around 50.41, it needs to kind of start getting above that. If that kind of fails and we start breaking some of these other key lower levels here, DMC, we're looking for potential around 42. That seems pretty extreme for a bank stock to fall that far, but that's basically what the Fibonacci numbers are saying. Potentially can come down to around probably 47 to 46 because I'm seeing a couple gap fills that we need to probably flush out and kind of fill these potential gaps before we can kind of make a break higher. Ryan, how far out do you buy calls? Depending. If I'm just doing straight calls, Ryan, I'm going out plus 60 to 90 days. So normally 60 to 90 days. If I'm selling calls, Ryan, I'm usually doing it within 30 to 45 days and just playing it from there. And my chat is updated. All right, folks. Here, hold on one second. I'm just trying to. Let's see here. When is a good buy for the correction price for Apple? Apple 420. Nice one there, App Backup. So basically with Apple, this one has been honestly, I don't know if you guys watched the video I just posted about the Wall Street bets, and I kind of covered Apple and Facebook, Amazon, and some guy who made crazy money on UPS shares or options. Basically, we are seeing. I only thought we're going to just kind of hover around the 411, but the bulls came out and the full momentum swing just came out and just drove up this price towards the end of the day. Like, we can look at a 5-minute chart. Basically, when I did the video, we're just kind of hovering around here, but we just saw a boatload of folks coming in hot, shooting from the hip, really, and just buying this up. Basically, what we talk about multiple times. So around 230, to around 3 o'clock, so much volume came in here of just buying this up, and it just held this momentum, just closed out, basically breaking to all-time highs even after hours trading, which I don't count, honestly. But this thing has just really ran up into this, and could be, again, this really could carry into Monday, and then around like 2 or 3 hours into trading on Monday, or even sooner, maybe 30 minutes into trading on Monday, we could see some potential, not extreme selling, but selling coming back down to the 411 price target. So we'll just have to see how it opens up, if the NASDAQ opens well, and how everything kind of goes from there. But that has been a pretty extensive move. If this wants to really continue, the next price target is around 469. Yeah. Ryan will teach you how to YOLO calls. I think anyone could teach you how to YOLO calls. Robinhood Iron Condor wins. Nice. Uber. Yeah. We can look at Uber. We haven't looked at that son of a gun. So Uber, very interesting here. They also have earnings coming out. Pretty much hit with also the overall pandemic and stuff. We kind of had this trading range band here. We're still in it. We do have earnings coming out the first week of August, so this is basically going to be next week. Potentially could be some further downside coming with this move. Let's see what the move is for next week. Is saying plus or minus $2.50. $2.50 is pretty substantial for a $30 stock, so we're talking about 10% move potentially. This could be, I wouldn't want to be going out and buying this, or even getting a full position, or even I would be very hesitant to nibble on this due to the fact of, I know last quarter they did fairly well with the eats, but I just don't understand the business that well enough. But on the chart here, it's just kind of lower part of the band. I'm going to be in more of the contrarian bet that this could potentially bounce, but the only thing is telling me that the 5 and 8 moving averages haven't kind of slowed down a little bit and start kind of leveling off. Like you see here, was kind of the 5 and 8 kind of leveled off and then jumped higher. We're not seeing that same pattern here, without a doubt. And with earnings on the horizon, it's too much of a coin flip for me, my friend. Alexander BRKB. Let's look at that one. What? Did I split that? Oh, are you telling me something? Is that an acronym for something? Zach, PCG. Yeah, this one is it's really been beaten up here without a doubt. So we're looking here at basically $9.35. It's below the 21. It's below the 200. The squeeze is trying to give it some momentum and give it some life, to kind of give it a slap in the butt to kind of kick higher here. But we really need to break above that, basically $9.60, where that parabolic SAR dots are kind of holding us back. Looks like earnings was okay, nothing really great movement there, but again, it's PG, or this is, what is this? This is not Procter Gamble, isn't it? But this is basically looking, just kind of trading sideways with earnings out of the way. It's kind of it's taking a little bit of the risk off, but we really need to see this start breaking out and start getting above some key levels around 965, 975 to kind of build higher. But it's very difficult because you've seen that it's trying to get up to the 200-day before and it's kind of failed. So it's got a lot of overhead pressure on this stock. Even though things are trying to turn around here with the volume zone oscillator and things like that. Let me look on the weekly. Yes, this is a spin-off of something that came out. Looks like this is just kind of recently was created, and it was just a spin-off from P&G, right? And then Bud. I almost put a trade in Bud today. I was gonna sell some calls actually at the $200 EMA right here. We're on $60 to $65. With this one, Earnings wasn't as great as I think they thought because he kind of came back down. We are still seeing the trend continue with the parabolic SAR. It hasn't broken below that 21. But that being said, if this starts breaking below 21 and the 5 and 8 are crossing over, really going to look for support around 52 to 51. Excuse me, to the downside. To the upside, we really need to get above that $60 price target. That $60 price target is basically that 200 EMA, and we really need to break above it. We really haven't seen much movement or ability to kind of get above that to really get a breakout from there. Hey Michael, hey Ken, would you mind doing a breakdown on net? I've done a lot of my own and watching it like a hawk. Would you be curious on your thoughts on the price entry for long-term position? Yeah, net was something that we kind of I gave out to my Patreon folks. I believe we talked about it right about this range here, around 28. That's where I think I bought some at 28. Rode up here, kind of sold off of it because it rose up so fast. It was just a really quick trade. I wasn't really thinking about going long term on it. It's really just holding it between that 21 and 34 here on the daily side. So the 21 is the yellow line, the orange is the 34 EMA, and it's just been kind of holding it and just grinding higher. We do have earnings coming on the horizon. That could be, again, a speed bump. It could be an acceleration boost. We don't know. It's a complete coin flip. So I wouldn't build my 100% position into earnings without a doubt. So long term, potentially, you're basically, for me, it would be difficult for me to buy it up here on 42. I would like to buy it closer to around the 37 to 36 price target, aka where the 21 and 34 lie. But you might not get that opportunity. You might have to be very patient to potentially get in at, I don't know how you do your trading or stocks. If you're just planning to buy, let's say 100 shares, you would buy 25 at your first starter, and then potentially if it comes down to the 50-day, you would add another 25 shares, and then kind of see how it pans out and starts breaking out to the upside. You would add the another 25 or different various long-term retracement that you're looking at there. But with net, yeah, this has been a very great performer. It's been performing very well during the pandemic and, of course, the stay-at-home economy. But it's very difficult for me to tell people to buy this at all-time highs here, without a doubt. And especially in front of earnings is going to be very difficult. But this one looks, again, if that trend continue between the 21 and 34, this is we could get some more further upsides there. Alpaca, can you check out SEDG? They produce the device that connects to solar panels and connect them to DC AC. Okay, I don't know anything about that kind of company. I don't know anything about basic electricity, honestly. I just know to make sure you turn it off when you install a ceiling fan. So this looks interesting. This is a very highly priced stock. Let me do a quick fib here, though, from previous swing high to low. Looks around the 1272. So this is basically looking for potentially just kind of looks like it really consolidating into earnings. I'm not too well connected with the understanding of the solar panel industry and how they make money and things like that. That being said, looking for if it breaks out to the 618%, this 1618 percentile move, which would be around 189 to 190, and to the downside, its support is going to be initially kind of coming in around 163 to 164, wherever the 21 and this particular 1272 extends there. So those are basically your guidelines to see how it works out. If it continues going higher, it's really going to need a break above that for the next ceiling resistance, and the downward support is going to come in here as well. Day 2, we did do a SPY recap. We can do one here in a second. Let's just do SPY recap since some more folks have joined. So with SPY recap, we're really still above that 21. We're above the 34. We just have the parabolic SAR switch to the bottom to keep that trend intact. We do see that really long wick candle here and a lot of the consolidation to the top end. Again, in theory, this could keep the overall buying momentum coming into Monday, but nothing in that's not written in stone. That's not somewhere that is just completely. That's just within theory that a lot of folks potentially the psychology behind of like, oh, people are afraid that, oh no, I missed the move, and the FOMO can kind of kick in with that trade there. So again, be mindful again, we're not closing anywhere below the 319, 320 for the SPY to kind of keep this trend continue going higher, and just kind of looking for that all-time high around the 339 level there, JT. United, Delta, then S. Johnny Bravo, lesson learned about buying calls before an expiration dividend date this week. Oh, what, did you get assigned or something? I have never done a condor. Ryan, do you know what a iron condor is? Basically, you buy the wings. You sell, for example, for SPY, you can sell the 320 and then sell the 320 put. So I can kind of swing this over here. So if I wanted to do an iron condor, let's just say like in September, the great thing with Tastyworks is just basically you can kind of tell it to do what you want, and then you can kind of adjust how far you want to go out and so forth. Normally you want to go to the top bands, basically being closer to like the 20 delta on each side, and kind of start playing around with that. So basically you're just doing that. You want to do you can do it off center, you can do it more bullish, more bearish. So if I wanted to be more bearish, I can sell this iron condor closer to in the money, and just kind of play it between there. So basically you're risking $45 to potentially make 55, and your probability of profits around 44%. That's meaning that during the expiration day that you have the probability of profit of making any money on it is about 44%. But again, from now to 49 days later, that can fluctuate greatly, and theta really kicks in around less than 45 days and 45 days, and then it kicks really substantially in around 21 days, and you see that theta decay start coming in. That's really what you're playing when you're selling a lot of those different various options there. Yeah, penny stocks I've been burnt too many times in the past. Yes, the trading I like to do, Roberts, is just sitting back and just relaxing. I don't want to be the guy biting my nails and throwing my monitors, banging my keys, and just yelling at the screen. That used to be me. I'm a much calmer guy now. Oh, I see what happened. Okay, my thing just updated again. Why does it do that? Silly, silly, silly. Okay, my chat just updated again. I'm sorry, guys. It went all the way to the bottom. Hold on, let me scroll up and see if I can find where the hell I was. I deleted Robinhood and pretend it never happened. Okay, my chat is updated. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. What's reading here? Work. Yes, we can do work. I'm all about work. Holy S, I can't believe the price of SolarEdge. Makes me want to go nuts on cheap, far out of the money calls. Yeah, I gotta be careful with those far money out calls, Chad. But let's go ahead and look at work. See how that's performing this week. So, Vasal, we're basically looking at, again, I think we talked about this on the live stream for you last week. We were really looking for that support around the 27 to 28 and really that 200-day exponential moving average there. So that really kind of came into fruition, really seeing a nice little bounce off that 27.95 price target. We are still seeing a little bit of red momentum, but I feel like this could switch Monday, Tuesday. This can turn to yellow, and we are seeing the RSI and volume kind of oscillator coming back. Nowhere near from the dead. This is still somewhat dead to me, but we're seeing the 5 and 8 moving averages kind of start consolidating and just trading sideways. This can kind of break above that 29.72 potentially and start trading sideways and building a strong base. We could get that movement higher to break above 30, and then of course kind of start climbing higher out of the grave, in the sense, lack of a better words, to kind of break out to get some more higher prices there. APK, can you check Disney for earnings to the downside? Well, I don't know if you know, I'm long-term Disney, so we'll see how that plays out. Again, long-term Disney has been a long-term position, and it literally has to come crashing down to like below 50 for me to lose money. But that being said, with Disney being super affected by the pandemic of parks, or actually I don't think it's even opening in the one in California, Disney, the original Disneyland, but I know Disney World's open to very strict capacity of like 25 or 30%, and then we have cruise lines. Basically, no one's going to a cruise line, and a lot of other components that they're just not making money because sports is not really happening. They're not really popping off, but we'll see how that plays out. That being said, so let's go ahead and do a quick little fib here. That connects. There we go. So with this one, we kind of talked about this multiple times here. It has not broken and really closed above that 200 EMA, which is around 120.50. That is basically the next price target, really the overhead resistance that we're really seeing here in the stock price. We really need to get that movement and get that punch through to really break above that to the upside. To the downside, like I think that you're talking about there, you're really wanting to see earnings miss. Again, this comes out on Tuesday, right? Tuesday after the close? Yeah, Tuesday. We really need to see it come lower so we can see what the movement is this week. Is around $6.50. So $6.50 from where we're currently at, but it did close fairly strong this on Friday, so this is kind of a tell for me as well for potential upside. That being said, again, earnings, complete coin flip. We just don't know how that can play out. I wouldn't be buying a strong position in this right now. Again, it's trying to come back from the dead here with the volume zone oscillator there, but I'm just not really the most happy about it gun-ho, because it really needs to break that 120 for me to kind of give the thumbs up there and kind of take off. But we really need to see how earnings plays out. But earnings is a complete coin flip. We'll see how that entails on what what's the new CEO? His name's also Bob, but it's not Bob Iger, which yes, you read a pretty good book that you should read. That being said, it's really just kind of consolidating here, waiting for earnings. It's going to be a very tough one to call. So if it starts breaking above the top part of this range here around 120, I'm going to be, of course, happier. If it comes down to the lower part of 110, I'm going to be sad. Big thoughts on DT. Not familiar with this company, but do a Fibonacci retracement. So this one is really a lot of consolidation here at the 1272 extension, which is around 4250-ish. Looks like it had earnings kind of flopped around there a little bit. It's this overhead pressure around 4250. It just really needs to kind of break out to kind of get above this. This really tight consolidation here is not helping anyone. It's really just kind of just trading sideways and just waiting for a shoe to drop or something to go bang or something to happen for it to jump. It's really just consolidating. I'm not familiar with this company that we're looking at here. That being said, we can see really just tight trading range here. We can kind of just draw a square to kind of represent that as well and just kind of create potential movement within that range. So basically, this is what we're looking at here, this kind of trading range between basically the 44 down to around 38. So basically that $6 price range that we've just kind of been bouncing around like a ping pong ball, not really knowing which way we're going to be going. It's slightly trending up, but as of right now, most of the activity has been above the 34, which we like. The parabolic SARs, again, you're just kind of switching back and forth, showing more consolidation in between those two levels. So this one's going to be very difficult to see how it plays out. Really looking for a breakout. If it does break out or a movement higher to around 50, to the downside, it's going to come around 37 there for the initial price targets for support and resistance. Chad, I am specifically referring to ENPH. Energy company. I just don't do well with energy companies. They just don't like me. So the previous high to low, it looks interesting again. This one looks very much like a ping pong also here, Chad. It's holding the 21, which is good. It's still above the 34. And the moving averages look fairly nicely stacked, so the trend could be continuously going to the upside. Really looking for overhead pressure around the 63.40 level, and to the downside support basically kind of coming with a 21, and where the 618 percentile is around 57 to 57.93 or $58 there to the basically kind of bouncing around. Heads up, we do have earnings on the horizon, so be mindful of that. So don't put all your eggs in one basket and see how it plays out. Volume zone oscillator looks pretty just generic here, same with RSI, and we just need to see some more volume kind of come in here. It looks like something drastically happened here. Not sure what this company did or what they lost a bid to something, but that looks a little concerning there with that large movement down that could affect the oncoming potential earnings for that. I'm not sure. Just be mindful that things could be just kind of trading between that range there. Johnny Bravo, A, R, and C. Yeah, so anything to do with like aerospace, any planes or anything like that is just kind of put on hold. This chart looks a lot like BA, but just different price targets. This is looking like just kind of really just, it's just kind of lingering. Like it's not flying off the chains. It's not going crazy. It really needs to break above that 200-day exponential moving average to kind of get above that $20 price target. We kind of see that it kind of flopped up here before, like a lot of stocks did basically at the end of May, the beginning of June, where we kind of had that really just optimism and just everything the mood was great, everyone was happy, but then that it just changed and everyone just kind of got negative and went back down and was like, maybe we're a little too optimistic. And a lot of those charts, you can look at the cruise lines, the jets, and all that stuff like that. The pattern's very prominent around that time frame. That being said, it's really kind of just trading sideways here. Really looking for that upside pressure or that resistance around the 200 EMA. Downside support's really going to come in basically where this low is here, around $13 to $14 for that there. Ron, what's up, my friend? Do you think Tastyworks is better than TOS for light options trading? I do. I don't do actually any trading anymore on my Thinkorswim account. I do it all through Tastyworks for my options. I like the program better because it's much simplistic to use the different various chains and just make orders much. Tastyworks is really designed for options first of all, because it's made by options traders. Alexander, you want to look at Berkshire Hathaway, the B one, right? Yeah, we don't want to do. We're not Bill Gates. We can be able to buy that A share. So this one, pretty interesting time frame here. Again, from the previous swing high to low, we're really looking at that 50% retracement, which is around 195. That 200 EMA has been basically some overhead ceiling of resistance, basically giving us the continuous downside support. If we can get that momentum with the 5 and 8, and we're kind of doing a little bit of a job here with the 5 and 8 moving averages, slowly grinding up rather than just gapping up and then losing the momentum and just coming crashing back down. We're slowly grinding into this. I kind of like this, so we're just going to be kind of coming alongside of the boat, getting the ropes ready, getting the planks ready, and just be able to jump over to the 200 EMA, tag it and wheel it in, but being able to conquer it. I know that was a horrible analogy, and you're probably like, what the hell is Ken talking about? A boat and rope? Like, what an idiot. Basically, we're just kind of just grinding against this, and once you grind something, something's going to break, and potentially looking for this to kind of break higher to around the 203 price target if we get that momentum going. Just be 100% heads up that we could see the earnings surprise was pretty substantial last time, with Berkshire basically just dumping all the airlines, taking a huge loss on those positions, and really just drove that stock down substantially there. But if I was like a Buffett, I wouldn't. You do a mistake once, so then you learn from it. You don't do it again. So I think that this quarter, just betting on Buffett, like Ryan said, you're really just going to be looking for potentially some moves. Again, it's not completely. It says earnings on the 8th. That's even next week. So it's in the following week. So it's basically $7-ish plus or minus. So yeah, that can be come up to that $200 price target, but downside support's really going to come in around 190 to 185 there. They love. I haven't been to Dairy Queen forever. Oh my gosh. Do I have a Dairy Queen where I live now? I don't think I do. Eric, DDOG, and Twilio, you can see up or down. DD, is that Datadog? So Datadog is kind of like the same thing like we talked about with Cloudflare or Net. Really holding that 21 and that 34 for that continuous upside potential. I like Datadog here a little bit better because it's a little bit better performing. It's not as choppy as you saw Net. Net was very choppy here. We are in the last 2 weeks in a consolidation period, it looks like, with Datadog here. We did see that switch again today with a lot of the tech-heavy stocks really switching that momentum and potentially going higher. That being said, if you don't hit the like button, no, I'm joking, this stock's going to come crashing down. That being said, that overhead pressure here, you can kind of see here at, we're just going to call it around $100. Could be some overhead resistance. That being said, fundamentally, it wants to be mostly attracted to that $100 price target, and if that can really just kind of certainly jump up to it and really break through it, that could really get moving. Just be mindful that we do have earnings on the horizon. That could be a super a coin flip as well, and really kind of throw a a raccoon into your dance, if you know what I mean. And it can really just mess the things up for your party. So I wouldn't be going out and putting 100% of my cash into this ASAP, if you know what I mean. Eric, also with Twilio. Twilio, whew, yeah, this one has been without Twilio love for sure. I love this stock. It's just so difficult. You really have to be super patient for on the 21. It's usually so difficult to buy on huge pullbacks. You just got to trust in the method of like the 21 and 34. It's getting all-time high just today with a lot of the other tech-heavy stocks. It's just been a crazy, great performing stock. Not sure on if I'm going to be able to purchase this right now, but this has just been a huge movement in the stock. I just can't. I kind of have to wait for those kind of a trading lower to kind of get in those prices here. I made out with my girlfriend at Disney. Nice. I thought you said you were married at DM. Oh, this is before you were married? Johnny Bravo, I see that you're way up from 5K subscribers weeks ago. Yeah, I think I'm growing a couple subscribers here and there. Not really too concerned about it. Just kind of making some good content, making fun stuff that makes me entertained. That video I made today didn't do too well on the views, but I think I laughed about 1,000, not 1,000 times, but at least 7-8 times when I read the individual Wall Street Bets description of someone trying to explain to someone else or ask the reasoning behind Apple's 4-to-1 split, and he wrote out all the math, and he's like, am I missing something here? Am I getting free money? And it's I just could not stop laughing. I already feeling a giggling coming up from that. Yeah. Let's see here. Oh, and my chat just updated again. What in the flip in the world? AJ, what do you think about Airline's AAPL? I can't touch them. They're not like a growth stock, which I normally are attracted to. They're just kind of like underperformers, and the best way for me to tell you and look at that is just looking at Jets. It's just not looking. It's below the 21. It's below the 34. It's just not really trending very well. If this can kind of consolidate here for a week, maybe 2 weeks, potentially can see a bottom here on 15, even down to 14. Then potentially start buying in if you want to be a more longer term investor there. Fastly, yes, we can look at Fastly. A couple folks have talked about Fastly. How much juice we got left in this puppy? I think this orange or lemon or lime or any kind of citrus fruit or anything that has juice in it does have a substantial amount of juice left. Really just kind of consolidating on the 21, taking a break here and looking for a substantially push higher here, looking for potentially breaking that 97 and getting back up to that 102. And then if we break that 102, really looking for that price target around 110 for Fastly. So if all things go well, mindful we do have earnings out next week. I want to be putting in all my money, kind of seeing how this plays out into Fastly to see how that performs. But this thing has a lot of juice left looking at the chart here, especially the last 3 days, really ratcheting up quite a bit there. What breadth indicators do we normally use? So I've been adding a lot more breadth indicators on the advanced decline to kind of give me what the overall trend of the market is. And then of course I use some of the momentum averages on larger time frames with the combination of RSI overbought and oversold. Chat seems very delayed. I don't know how everything is up to standards. I don't know. fix that. I'm not that smart. Yeah, double top, double bottom. It's so hard to call those, honestly. Brian got Intel calls 814 is their hope. Not sure. Intel, poor Intel. So we kind of had these price targets here. We're really looking for that $50 to hold, but that clearly didn't hold. We're looking now for around 45 potentially to come down to. Potentially, again, those moving averages are still pretty aggressively pointing down to the ground, and no really signs of those 5 and 8 kind of curling. Curling mean that this really needs to start leveling off here, Brian, and seeing this kind of start slowing down. I'm not sure what call you have. Let's say if you had the 65 call for that time frame, I'm like, you're probably not going to be able to see. You're not going to see that price anytime soon, unless they come out and they get a deal like Kodak did for the government and just get, what was it, like $780 million, or whatever. It was a million. Yeah, it was a million. To start making pharmaceutical drugs and different very components. Yeah, but yeah, I have nothing much to really add on Intel there. Really just kind of seeing this, it can hold here for sure and build a base here, but there is no signs of any base building right now. We're still seeing that momentum kick off. The RSI is slowing down, but if we look on the weekly side, the RSI is also slowing down here. Oh, this is not the weekly. RSI is not slowing down here. Potentially can come down even lower. I don't think it's going to hit the lower part of like the 20 point move there, because that really needs to go lower to be well below 45 at a very drastic pace. But just be mindful that anything can happen in the market. On the weekly side, it's kind of bouncing off the 200-day here, so that could be substantial there, and that understanding there. So I think that potentially could be holding around the 48 and potentially start curling up to around 50-day and kind of just consolidating here and trading sideways for some time, unless we get some really good news and we can go up there. Hey, thanks for everyone for joining tonight. I really do appreciate it. If you're enjoying something and you learned something tonight, please hit that like button. I really do appreciate it. We just looked at Berkshire Hathaway, but we can look at it again for you. So it's actually kind of somewhat interesting because I kind of like it. Because I like it, I'm going to add it to my charts or to my list here. And the reason I like it is the fact that it's kind of consolidating here on the 200-day. The only thing it's going to be super worrisome of is that it has the earnings report coming out, and you're also kind of seeing like Warren Buffett, if he still got it, if you know what I'm saying, if he still got it, he still got the move, still got the wit. About looking at the overall swing up to around 203 is going to be the next overhead resistance. To the downside, we're looking basically support around 190 to 197, 190, then to $187 here to the downside. Again, that could be a pretty drastic moves because again, the move is basically $7 either direction. What the options markets are predicting, but we'll see how that plays out. What did you take on Activision for earnings next week? So I'm not going to be completely earnings could be a complete coin flip, 100% disclosure there, my friend. But EA was great. EA had a great little earnings play. I think that Activision will follow and kind of get the same representation of that. The 21 or the 34 EMA have been holding very well here. It basically closing out at an all-time high today. It's going to be very difficult to buy a position into this, even into earnings. It's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. Definitely, I think it's going to be a great earnings for them to the upside, but that being said, we're hitting all-time high territory. It's going to be very difficult to look at. We can kind of do a slightly Fibonacci retracement here. Yeah, this is one I did previously, so it really broke above that 618. So downward support really coming around at $81, but upside is basically looking for $90 for some of the next overhead target there. Clint Rogers, Ken, is there any way you will make a video about how to set up your toss? Clint Rogers, I actually have that. Let me find that real fast. Hang on. I know I have that somewhere. Let's see here. I think I link it in the video description, don't I? Yeah, here it is. I do have it in the video description. So here, let me hit that up, Mr. Clint. So that should, if that loads for you, let me know. That should be able to allow you to open that up, that toss box, and that will give you the very, the one that, basically the chart you're looking at now. The only thing I cannot give away would be these moving averages crossovers up here, because that is something that I paid for, and that is a particular stuff that I cannot give away because I paid for it, and I get in trouble with it. JT. Oh, sorry. Stock Up 101. Apple. Yeah, we talked about Apple, so Apple be a very difficult one to see how that one plays out without a doubt. Apple had a huge momentum run towards the end of the day and just really skyrocketing higher. Looking for some potential movement to really get above that 1618, so around the 46250. If we break above that come Monday, that could be a pretty substantial strong move. I don't think we're going to get up above 470. If we do, that's going to be short from a lifetime. But that being said, really looking for some tight consolidation around the 426, potentially going to 430, kind of just trading it down and potentially seeing some sideways action there. But again, we have to be kind of wait on how the futures open up Sunday night and how the overall market just takes in some particular earnings coming out there as well. DMC, I have to learn how to sell. I have to learn puts and calls. Yeah, I can. I'm trying to put something together to kind of help folks with that. It's gonna be a free thing. Don't worry, I'm not gonna charge you guys. Warren does have a I don't know if it's a mystery. Everyone knows about it. I don't know how Dairy Queen's at stay-at-home play, but yeah. You're welcome, Clint. Alex, how do you feel about Nvidia? I love it. Love it. So Nvidia been performing very well. Nvidia, AMD. AMD was my largest position in the last week, but now I trimmed quite a bit of it, and we're going to see how that looks out. Yeah, JT, I did look at, we can look at AMD after we look at this one here. That being said, we're just kind of just trading here sideways here, really holding that 5 and 8 moving averages. We were in a pretty tight consolidation pattern. We're still somewhat are. We haven't broken to the all-time high around 432, 431 price target. Closing out today around only 424. I know, only 424. That trend here continue going higher, holding that 21 EMA. which is the yellow line, and just kind of just trading up on this trend here and seeing this continue higher. Really looking for that price target around 440, which is a very key price target from the previous swing high to low. I believe that's the 1618 percentile move, to see if this can break above this to kind of see some higher prices. Again, earnings is going to be further out towards the mid of August, so we do have some time on that. If you want to do potentially an earnings run into this, could be quite interesting without a doubt, and really get some momentum going, because we do have the volumes on also looks really healthy, and same with RSI, and we do have a 2-day squeeze setting up there. Oh, sorry, Clint. So that's not a video. I'm sorry. I thought you were asking for the actually download of that. So I can give. Maybe I don't have that. I know I have it. Hang on. I'm sorry. I should add this to the videos. My bad. I know I have it. 1 second. Hold on, Clint. I'm gonna find it in 30 seconds. Not less than 30. Maybe not. I lied. Maybe this is it. Yep, this is it. Alright, sorry about that, folks. Let me get this to Clint or anyone else want to look at it. That's a live stream that we did a ways back. So if you download that particular link and then view this particular live stream, you kind of show you on how I set up the screen as well and what I use it for. Chad, one of my best long-term spreads were buy 450 calls, sell the 450 Apple December calls. Yeah, that's going to be a little bit bullish for sure. You're really betting on that continue going higher. Again, anything can happen in the market. That's usually not how I trade. I would buy calls that are further in the money to kind of give me some better probability of that. Native Gamer, is there such a thing as an option scanner? Yes, you can make all kinds of different option scanners within TOS, other various platforms. You can scan for options, different things like that. I'm trying to build my own with some proprietary indicators that I'm learning how to code within Python, and potentially give that for the particular, like a YouTube membership or a Patreon subscription or something like that. Happy birthday, Dirty D. Happy birthday. I thank you for letting DMC8282 join the live stream tonight. I really do appreciate it. I hope for a wonderful evening and events. Hopefully he's taking you out to a nice dinner, maybe buying you a nice necklace or something, or whatever you are wanting. Yeah, I wish you guys love, happiness, and ongoing happiness. You're welcome, Clint. Hopefully that works for you. Alexander, thank you very much. How about Dropbox? Just purchased some calls for Nvidia and Dropbox for upcoming earnings. Dropbox, I got some emotional damage with Dropbox. So Dropbox kind of did me a dirty one. Basically, it did a little head fake to me. I think I have to go further out. So I traded this is like a newer IPO. Normally with IPOs, I wait after 2 quarters. So I bought it probably into the third quarter, after the second quarter, and just you can see here on the weekly chart, it was just continued grinding lower and grinding lower. And I honestly lost patience with it, and I was like, this is a piece of crap. Let me just get rid of it. I love the product. It works great. It's fantastic, but I was not able to be able to get any love from anyone else to buy the stock, and it just kind of failed out here. And it's really just petering around this very trim range here. With earnings, it's going to be coin flip. With being up today, it looks pretty substantial, really strong week. We're really seeing this tight range here between, let me just draw a box to kind of give a better representation of what I'm talking about. This basically this tight range here, that's kind of trading in between here, and really looking to break out. It's going to be a very tough one to look at because it's going to be very difficult. Clint, thank you for the $5. Hopefully, again, it's for a wonderful marriage. JT, oh, AMD. I'm sorry, my friend. I missed you on AMD. Let's go look at AMD. Clint, thanks for the $5. AMD. JT. Sorry about that one. Yeah, this one. We trimmed it. What was it? Last Friday on that move higher. And it was last Friday, yeah. Last Friday, that move higher where I was like half asleep. It moved higher. I got out of it. And then it would just continue going up this week. And then earnings was another huge up. Really looking for, again, looking at the Fibonacci numbers, we're looking at the next price target around the 2618, which is around 95. That is pretty substantially high up there. But that being said, with multiple gap ups, this thing has just potentially running out of breath. You can kind of see our volumes kind of dying off here. Momentum's not dying off here yet, but RSI is kind of curling down. Same with volume zone oscillator here, JT. So looking for, what you're saying? I think the move is insane. I want to sell it. I want to see it pull back a bit, without a doubt. Yes, you want to see it pull back. Yeah, I won't say pull back. I would maybe say consolidate. So potentially you can consolidate around the 73 range, just kind of trading in between there, and then potentially wait for those moving average to kind of catch up. We could see some consolidation coming back down to $70. That's pretty substantial here, but that's kind of where those parabolic SAR dots are kind of looking at. So depending on how the overall market does into next week, if tech and the QQQs or the NASDAQ, what we're talking about, is continue going higher, this could easily just trade with the trend and really just start flying with it some more, even though just really just not giving a crap about physics and the laws of a stock can't go up in a straight line. So just be mindful of that. JT, yeah, I love Intel to the long side, but too much of a move could shake out some people and really get scary and really have a steep sell-off if things really go down from there. Brian, what's up, my main man? My purple line man. Thank you so much for joining. Appreciate it. Yeah, we can look at BA, Brian. I always think of BA when I think of Brian. This thing with the overall airlines is not doing fantastic. I had to take my magical enchanted line away, Brian, for this one. Want to kind of do a quick analysis on BA, which no one really has asked about, but I'm going to do it. Previous high to low to high again. Really broke. We were looking for that 62 price target to hold. Really broke below that here into Friday here. Not a happy camper. With earnings not being great at all and the CEO just not being a very nice guy there. Looking for potential downside. Could be consolidating here potentially around 43. We can kind of look at this deviation channel here. Oh, whoa, what happened there? Michael, thanks for all the time and have a great weekend. Yay, thanks, Mike. Michael, appreciate it. Yeah, so yeah, poor BA is just not doing what we would like it to. I actually had to roll down my sold puts for a slight loss there. Looking for, again, around 43 to 45 to potentially hold. Really looking around 140. So the reason we're looking at that price target and not looking at 118, again, it could come down to 118 without a doubt. But being a little bit more of an optimistic, we can look at basically kind of looking at some of this previous movement higher, because we had multiple gap up here, and normally for anything to kind of go higher, it needs to fill that gap up. It's just kind of like an unwritten rule within stock trends where it kind of needs to fill that gap. We clearly filled these gaps up here with all this consolidation here. What I mean by that is when these move up, you get those FOMO mentality people of like, oh, it's going to continue going higher, it's going to go back up to 400. But once they realize it's not going up to 400, they just get out, and you get those gap downs, and just get that really strong selling here, which we saw like 3 days in the huge gap down here But that 21 kind of came in to save it, and now we're just kind of really trading sideways and now lower now within BA. Intel really needs to hold around the potentially the $48 to $50 price target there. If it starts breaking below that and not consolidating around $48 or $50, we could be looking around $45. Johnny Bravo's getting some Dairy Queen now. What's good at Dairy Queen? What is the best? What is they're known to? It's just the what are those things they turn over and they hand out those what are they called? A Blizzard, right? Blizzard. I haven't had Dairy Queen forever, Johnny Bravo. Now I have to go Google a Dairy Queen in my area. I know, Brian. I shed some tears as well. JT, yeah, FB, yes, that's a good one. We haven't done FB, Facebook. So Facebook is what we actually sold some puts in this. We've been trading this for a little bit. We actually bought a substantial amount of portions here on that dip here. We thought this was way overdone, and just this is usually when emotions take the best and some news comes out and just really just kind of shits the bed, lack of better words, or really just messes things up potentially in the short term, but in the long term trend is still somewhat intact. It really looked like the 50-day was kind of coming to hold. We actually started buying some around I think it was the 117-ish level, maybe lower. I think we bought it on the lower part around the 50-day here, where the red line kind of comes in here. Looking for that support here around the 50%, and then it kind of it went lower the following day, but it made a really strong recovery, closing up higher, and then kind of coming back into the trend around the 21. And then we talked about this multiple times, having multiple overhead resistance around the 248 price target here. So really just having that overall momentum kind of being stopped out here, and then kind of coming off again due to Zuck and Bezos and Cook and anyone else that had to go do that Zoom call, or I think they didn't even use Zoom, they used Cisco WebEx or whatever to join and talk to Congress. Then it was kind of a, lack of a better words, wasn't fun, without a doubt. And now looking for that potential push higher with earnings. We are broken above that 1272 extension, aka 248, and looking for some consolidation here. We did break that parabolic SAR. Now really just looking for the hold above this line here around the 248, potentially consolidating for a next push higher to the $278 price target there, JT. To the downside, support's really going to come in around the 224 to the initial support side, and then coming down to the 200-day, which is around the 207. Chat had BA puts. Thumbs up, my friend. Brian Snap. Clint, can you dig a look at ZN? It's Zyn Oil and Gas. I've been waiting for a year for this one to confirmatory drill in there. Yeah, we can look at ZN. I hope it's not a penny stock there, Clint. Yeah, it's a penny stock. So this one, it's going to be very difficult, Clint. So, lack of better words, since I know your wife, I know you now, since I wished you guys happy birthday, or wished your wife happy birthday and happy marriage, be very careful around penny stocks, Clint. The penny stocks are very easily manipulated with a little bit of volume here and there, and that FOMO mentality with algorithms can really just drive the prices either direction. As of right now, this thing has really just kind of taken off here due to whatever reason I think you're stating here. That is basically some kind of news-driven article, like you're saying a confirmation of a new drill or a new pipeline opening up or whatever like that. Just be very careful. I know it seems enticing to buy these penny stocks and like, oh, it can turn into $2. It's like, just be very careful with that. Just from another man to another. Big Etsy. I have a $80 call for September, debating selling before earnings or riding through, giving all the online shopping stocks doing pretty well. Thoughts? So Etsy, I think Etsy is a very strong company without a doubt. And of course, if I can spell it. So with Etsy, looking at that price target, you have an $80 call. If you bought it at $80, you're making a substantial amount of profit. I think that's going to be, if you have multiple contracts of that, it would be on the safe side, potentially to trim some of it going into earnings, because again, earnings is basically a coin flip. We are seeing here on Etsy from the previous swing high to low, we can kind of look at that here. I wonder if this is going to be the 1272 extension up here to create that overhead resistance around here, and look at that. So we have two lineups of two Fibonacci numbers, so this is pretty interesting stuff. So the previous swing high to low here, and the high to low here, I know it looks like a shit ton of lines, but we're really looking here at a lot of consolidation around 118 to 119. If this can break above that, we're looking for 123 and then potentially to 140. I'm fairly sure that Etsy is going to have a pretty volatile quarter, so they're having earnings next week as well, like you stated. They're saying a move of $15. That's pretty substantial. So $15 where we're currently at could easily reach up to, what is that, 30? So 135-ish, 132-ish potentially. That price target up there, and then to the downside to around 99, a little bit around 101, 102, where basically the 21 and 34 kind of come into range. This looks really strong, actually. My only concern is that it's kind of running up too much into earnings. What day is earnings? The 5th after market, so that's a Wednesday. Am I right? Yeah, Wednesday after the market closed. Be very mindful that me, fundamentally, how I trade this running into earnings is usually kind of scares me, but I think earnings would be great if, again, I agree with you as well. They're selling a lot of stuff on Etsy. A lot of people are making a lot of money on Etsy and doing very well. So I think that there could be some further upside. But again, with earnings, they can beat on revenue, everything. But if they just give lackluster guidance or they kind of sandbag their guidance, it could be really just take this stock down and really just hurt it, because the analysts can just really just spin it in certain directions. All right. Brian, on the S&P 500, on the futures market, yeah. So those two really strong recovery days just basically tells you there's a lot of bulls and there's a lot of money buying the dip here. Basically, you're seeing that 21 being bought up quite a bit here on the futures. So the 21 kind of comes down to 21. Yeah, we don't care. Then it trades down there. We don't care. We're gonna continue going higher. And I think a lot of the overall what could have scared people in the market with the large earnings between Facebook, Google, Amazon, Apple, are kind of just relieved, and now folks are looking for the next potential moves higher. Limitless Life and Audrey. We can look at Space. Yes, Space is reporting next week as well, I believe. So with Space, we talked about previously, had that run up into the 50% retracement, basically ran into a wall, wasn't able to really get its legs underneath itself. Now it's kind of coming down, potentially holding the 2183 level, which is again the 38.2 percentile move there. Again, with earnings on the 3rd, so that's Monday. So that's going to be an interesting one to see this one play out again. that's going to be. It's always fun to want to listen to because again, it's a company that doesn't have a source amount of revenue or source of revenue due to the fact of it doesn't have anyone flying yet. I know they're doing some stuff with NASA on training astronauts or cadets to go into space, so that could be quite interesting there as well. But just be super mindful. This is a speculative play because there really isn't a substand of a earnings revenue model. They're not profitable, so it's going to be a little bit of different on how they make money. I don't think a lot of analysts know how to put a certain price target on this because there isn't really anything that kind of has this particular business model, so they try to kind of Frankenstein other business models from like an airline company, then an entertainment company, and blah blah blah. So it's just it's not very well priced, so it can be a lot of emotionally driven price movement here. So that's where you kind of can see these really aggressive swings, especially in space. But really looking for that 21 to hold coming to earnings, plus or minus $3.50. We could see some movement there. Potential to if you want to be on the bull side, really needs to break above 25.78 to the bear side. You can come back down to the $18, $19 price target there. Dean, welcome, my friend. ZOUO. Yeah, I don't know what this company does. I'm not a big fan, unless you're going short it. B, the fact that it's well below 200-day. It has tried to hit the 200-day multiple times and now failing. It's below the 21, potentially if it comes up to this price target around $12, potentially another short in the short to intermediate term. It's just a very downward trending stock and nothing. Let me look on the weekly side. Yeah, this is just a downward trending stock and nothing really too much to add there, my friend. Sorry. Ryan, would you rather YOLO on oil tankers than penny stocks? Oil tankers. I can't. Would I rather YOLO oil tankers or penny stocks? I consider oil tankers penny stocks in the first place because the way they trade, they're very heavily manipulated, and they're just literally just trading vehicles. So I think they're in the same category. If you would ask me, hey, Ken, would you rather trade the airlines over penny stocks? I would choose the airlines. Yeah, we can do Walmart. Oh, shoot, my dang thing. Yeah, we can do get Walmart again. We got some new folks kind of joining in, probably on the on the West Coast. So Walmart, it kind of failed here at the 133 price target. Was never really able to close above that. Kind of came sleeping down, looking for support around the 21. It did tag this, basically the 618 percentile move at the 127 price target, looking for that potential bounce here. With earnings on the horizon coming out in about 2.5 weeks, potentially seeing some consolidation here. If it continues staying above the 127, basically, I really would love to see it above 130. Would be great to kind of be this trend going and consolidating here into earnings. If we start seeing the 5 and 8 cross through the 21, we could potentially see the price target at support coming around 125 there. Ryan, MU. Yeah, we can look at MU. MU is actually one. I think I put an order out, but I never got filled. So this thing is looking a lot. Ryan, I think you know this is without a doubt. A lot like AMD. They're not in this. They're in the same. Well, this one is more inside the overall like chips of things, not chips like the salty, delicious snack. The chips in the sense of like microprocessors and semiconductors. this thing has been trading sideways, really isolated here with that the squeeze here, an RSI and volume zone oscillator. It is literally just screaming and just holding around the $50 price target. If I was a betting man, which I am, I would like to see this higher to around 56. I think this could happen. Looking here on the weekly side, I think actually, Ryan, I'm going to put a bet on this one. I'm going to put in an order now. I know it's a Saturday or a Friday, and I can't trade on the weekends, but I'm going to put an order for Monday, probably for September, potentially selling like the $50 put and maybe buying the 45 put there for some, just a little bit of, yeah, I might do that. See how that plays out. Maybe we can try to get it for like $2. And then maybe, okay, I put that order in. So thank you for that one, MU. DMC. I'm not much of a football person. I understand the football, but that's a funny thing. It's like betting on the Dallas Cowboys to win the Super Bowl. Yeah, well, I'm more of a baseball guy, so it's basically like betting on the Baltimore Orioles going to the World Series. I wouldn't be getting into that kind of strategy for the way my opinion is on Etsy to kind of look at, to kind of hedge it. If you're in that straight call and you're up on profits on it and you just want to take some off and just be, just again, the saying says, I think Jim Cramer and some other folks I've heard it say, it says bears make money, bulls make money, but pigs get slaughtered. So don't get greedy with it. If you're up in it, if you're just too nervous to hold it to earnings, it's just best to cut it, because losing sleep over some stock positions is not worth it. What do you think about WD-40? Is that the stock? It's not. What's the stock for WD-40? I bought into MU at 550. What would you buy stock at that? DMC 8282. Do I wear a mask when you go to the grocery store? Well, I'm gonna sound like a very posh piece of shit. I just get curbside, but I go to Costco, so I do have to wear a mask when I go to Costco. WD-40 is the ticker? Okay. Really? Good for them. You son of a... It's not WD-40. There's no way that WD... It's WFC. No, is that it? No, I'm not saying it. Maybe it's getting too late for my brain. WD-40.com. That's not it. I've seen so many people light cigarettes. You sons of a bitch. Thank you, Dean. Yeah, this one's just kind of just trading sideways. Really holding that 200-day, basically looking for potential highs around 204, 205, 204. Really looking to break above that parabolic SAR there to continue going higher. The 5 and 8 are potentially can cross through the 21 to get that movement going higher. Earnings is out of the way. Really looking really strong support here around the 195 there. So this looks fairly strong there to the stop thing. NAT. Ugh, NAT. Don't bring that into my. What's NAT trading at? Like we talked about it, like it's definitely going to be holding that 200-day EMA very well. Potentially with the squeeze and the momentum kicking in, we could be seeing some price targets up to $5 again, but I can't trade that. I won't touch it. Look at that jellyfish pattern. That's exactly what it looks like. What else did I want to look at? Visa actually hurt me this week. Have anyone traded Visa? I had to roll some of these some of those puts out. I was selling the 195s and really got burnt on them with earnings, and seeing how that overall goes higher. Potentially, it's really still in a tight trading range here long term, so I could roll them and they'll be fine. But the trading range between the 202 to the 186, 187 price target is this very tight consolidation. Ken, do you have any recommendations on books related to trading? So the one basic book, and I think that if you're just getting started with trading, I'm looking at it on my bookshelf right now, is called The Big Book of Stock Trading Strategies. It's called From the Trading Universe from Matthew. It's very, not Matthew like the Bible. Basically, the title is let me just look it up on what's the damn site called? Amazon. Sorry, no one really asked about Amazon this as well. No one really talked about Amazon at all. The Big Book of So let me just create a quick link for you. So that is a book that I always look at. That's an Amazon link there. It's actually part of the affiliate link, so I am an Amazon affiliate link guy now, so be mindful of that. So I have to say that, I think. So that's a book that it's very simple. It might be too simple for you, Ryan, honestly. This is just kind of talking about some like Bollinger Band strategies. So within the book, they talk about the Bollinger Band strategy, where it kind of got my attention on the Bollinger Bands and Keltner channels. So the Bollinger Band is basically the red lines on here. And normally if a stock has a divergence or a break above or through those Bollinger Bands, it kind of has to snap back. Because it doesn't really stay too far out there, so you're really just trading. This is when I was like doing a lot of day trading and just watching and alerting on these different various moves. So if a stock had a drastic move out of the Bollinger Bands, you would basically buy it and wait for it to snap back into the Keltner channels. Again, it doesn't happen very often. That's just like one of the strategies within the book, alongside of just some particular momentum strategies there as well. And again, I've read so many different various books. There's not like one book that does everything. The sense of that like tells you everything. There's just so many different key things. Like I read so many books. I probably read 2 books at least a month regarding about something about anything. You can take, what's the book I just read? Oh Lord, I'm forgetting that it's out now. The sense of waiting for some technical analysis of just basically data science stuff, on the sense of how they consolidate, collect the data, maybe reading a book or listen to a podcast about different various things. I listen to a lot of podcasts as well. So when I drive, when I walk, when I run, when I don't run, when I walk fast, or when I'm just doing yard work, I'll listen to a podcast or listen to an audiobook. Should I start a book club for the channel? We should do like a monthly or bi-weekly book club. Yeah, Thinking Fast and Slow is a good one for sure. You made $500 on NAT. Nice. Yeah, we can look at Amazon real fast. Let's look at Amazon. So Amazon, of course, was the huge beast in the room. Again, talking about magic. From the previous swing high to low, it's popping up directly into the 32.46 price target here, which is basically the 78.6 percentile move that we're looking at here. Really looking for a potential. Did kind of sell off a little bit into the close or into the trading day, even though with Apple just really going through the roof. Really kind of showing if this starts breaking below the 31.69, potentially down to 31.15, 31.16, that could be some initial support down there, but really looking for this to kind of consolidate around basically the 31.65 to 31.70. To kind of trade sideways, potentially to start curling up to get above that 32.46 there. Does anyone have puts in the long run for Alibaba? No, I actually just sold some of my calls in Alibaba. Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do a book tab, Ryan, in the overall in the Discord. That's a good suggestion. Because I don't know how I would make a YouTube video about a book thing. I would just kind of ruin the story for everyone, I guess. And basically, do summary of a book. I really don't want to do a summary of a book. I'm not back in college or high school to try to do a book summary, a book report on something. And maybe just taking some key points out. So another book that I also like, what did I have it at? I have One Up on Wall Street. That's a Peter Lynch book. The Intelligent Investor, there's like 2 chapters on there that it's a super old book from Benjamin Graham. Trading in the Zone is a really interesting one. Is basically the psychology or having the attitude of trading is very important, actually, more than more people thought. Exactly. Like, if you learn, you pay $20-$30 for a book or whatever, and if you learn something that helps you make $100, there's already a return on your investment. DMC 8282, nice. Okay, fantastic. Would it make sense to buy some puts on AMZ to head lower? Are you talking about Amazon? Or is that a different ticker? AMZ. This one looks interesting. Actually, that's a pretty good call on your behalf, actually. This thing looks like it does want to head lower, honestly. It's just really a lot of overhead resistance around the 131 price target. Looks like it does want to kind of head lower. I don't know why my charts just changed. Why did my volume zone oscillator just disappear off this? That's weird. Okay, why isn't it on there? That was weird, right? Did you guys see that? Did something hack here? That's really strange. Choosing FI is my favorite podcast. Never heard of that. Thank you, Clint. Enjoy your weekend, and hopefully a good steak dinner with you and your wife, or whatever you guys like to do. God bless. Sometimes I forget I'm a trader when I'm trading. I don't know what that means. The intelligent investor is super annoying, Ryan. I agree 100%. There's only like 1 or 2 chapters out of the whole book I recommend to people to think. It's like chapter 10 or 11 talking about averaging down or not averaging down on the stock, and that was very important. Yeah. What is your opinion on Fibonacci retracements? I love them. I love it, yeah. LOL, look bit at Pizza Hut. I love the Fibonacci retracements. I love it. So I can do what I can do on this one. Actually, we're going to do the Fibonacci extension. So the previous swing high to the low to the high again. We could potentially looking for. So it's looking like look at this. This is magic. It's nearly around that support here. Around closed at 126. This is what 126.78. So within a couple pennies that this is kind of closed here at. I'm not sure what this does. Can I even trade this? I've never heard of this before. But that being said, this is looking like if that breaks here, we're looking for around a $100 price target there. I know, Ryan. I sold Docu probably way before you did. I'll tell the story time. Story time, everyone. Story time. Ken, the idiot trader, bought it here around $40 or $73. Rode up here to a really nice extension. Thought it was gonna. It started showing some times of topping here with the RSI volumes on oscillator. Sold it, and said, haha, it's never gonna come back up to that price target. And then the virus hit, and it went to skyrocket here. Never actually. I think I took it off my main watch list. I was like, yeah, that's done. Adobe's gonna buy them or something like that. And then it just continued riding up here and just going to the moon. I think I had I was trading a lot. I think I bought shares of it, so I probably bought like anywhere from 20 to 25 shares of it for a trade. Kelly D, hey, thanks for joining, my friend. Thoughts on Zynga? So this one has just been really just trading sideways. It's really been holding that the 21 EMA here very well, and just kind of riding it up. Had a strong sell-off here for whatever reason, but now it's still holding the 34 and 21 here, potentially just trending sideways here. We do have earnings on the horizon, so be mindful of that. This is looking like it consolidate. If the news comes out and looks great, we could see that move up to above plus $10. The downside support's really going to come in around $9.37 to around basically $9.25. Oh, excuse me. Who sneezed and yawned at the same time? So around $9.25 there. Mir, would you say fibs are your favorite? Yes, Fibonacci's numbers are very important for how I do the understanding of looking at price targets or where I should get in and out of. But again, moving averages really helps me dictate the price and volume and the overall movement in the market there. My CSGP call October 18th is up 900%. I wonder if I should sell it or wait for a bit longer. What was your initial thought process when you bought that? Were you going to say, if I hit 100%, I'm going to make out of it, and so forth like that? That being said, it's going to be hard, very difficult. I'm not sure what the hell this company does, but the previous swing high to low, if it holds above 813, that the trend is still intact, but it looks like this is something blew out of the water here, and really just kind of start trading sideways. Potentially to see here to get above that $900 price target again. That's a huge amount of selling there. Looking like, well, this is like an earnings movement here, basically. Looking for that movement to kind of continue. If it holds around 813, I say that it could, my opinion would be that it could hold this on looking at the chart here. Unless, again, I don't know what the stock does, but looking at the potential downside support coming around 746, unless you have 2 shares of it, it wouldn't hurt to take one of those shares off or one of the call options. AMD is a monster. I'm sorry, Adobe is a monster, yes. I own some Adobe as well. Adobe is a great run company. Hey, what's up, man? Thoughts on JMIA? Of course, it didn't type. What the hell? JMIA. So this one looks interesting. Kind of was basically a $20 stock, came well down to $2 during the pandemic, and now it's making a nice ride up into well past the 200-day exponential moving average and going higher. So we can kind of look at this is like a newer stock. I want to do like a longer term fib here. Let's do come on. From the previous swing high to low, we are looking at not even hitting the lower band here, but we're seeing an enormous amount of volume coming here. This understanding of all this volume coming, I'm not sure what this company does, but looking for some upside potential around $20 on that sense. But we can kind of look on a smaller time frame, basically around the daily chart here, so that we can do a fib here. So let's do here. We're basically going to be looking for the initial price target around 17. We're above the 618. We're above the 78.6 percentile move. So this is all looking fairly great there to the upside. But again, this is a very fast moving momentum stock. It's going to be very difficult to kind of buy this. We are start hitting the top band of the RSI, meaning overbought. We could see some potential consolidation kind of flattening out here. I'm sorry to hear that, Ryan. That sounds like you're having an emergency over there with your dog. Yeah, DMC 8282. I normally don't do a lot of day trading, so I don't even look at many like charts under 4 hours because it just really gives me anxiety. Honestly, it just makes me feel like I'm missing trades or I should have done things differently. All right, folks and gentlemen, I'm going to be calling it a night here. Thank you so much for everyone for coming out. We're going to be doing another live stream on Sunday with our traditional one. We're looking at the earnings ahead. Thank you everyone for coming out today. I really great appreciate it. We'll be working on a Nikola video coming out tomorrow regarding their factory, and I don't know if you saw it on Wall Street Bets, and I saw it on some other forums of a girl named Jessica drove out to the breaking ground of the factory. Days later, after they're talking about they're going to be going full throttle into Nikola and just building, and they're going to leave no tire unturned, no rock unturned. They're just going to be building. But it was a completely, and she drove out there, I believe, 5 or 6 days later, and there was like nothing out there. There's not even a construction vehicle or any kind of equipment starting to build, and they're saying they're going to have a factory up within 6 to 12 months. So it was kind of funny. And then you had the multiple people on the Nikola team saying that we're going to do everything possible to get this thing up and going. Kelly D, you're welcome. Apple puts, I can't recommend that right now. That's too, you just saw one of the largest bullish trades into the close that could be easily continue into Monday, most likely. Some consolidation. You could get some short-term selling, but the overall trend is really, really strong intact there for the Apple puts. With Nikola, like again, we're working on the video, so coming out tomorrow, but I can kind of give you guys a sneak peek on it. Looking at just really holding that 50 percentile move, the moving averages still kind of start curling down. This is the overall target. This little box here potentially to see on how it plays out with earnings. I think that earnings are going to be a little bit more volatile than I think the market makers are kind of selling here. We'll see how that plays out. Looking like some potential support to the downside, really around the $26 to $27 price target, and see how that plays out. So the person who spanned Apple puts with the about, I think it was like 11 or 13 question marks. So with Apple, the reason why we're not saying Apple puts due to the fact is you can do puts, you can do whatever the hell you want. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But with this really strong momentum, huge gap up, there's so much momentum going into the stock. Yes, it could deflate a little bit come Monday into Tuesday, deflating here a little bit, but we're looking for some support around the 411. But the thing is, like, I don't like to, I can't buy puts just because it went up 10% in a day. There has to be some underlying reason. Like, I don't think Apple makes crappy products. I don't think that they're really not going to be performing that well. Like if this was like a Nikola or like I'm trying to think like another company that makes no sense to me jumping up like this, then I would say yeah, puts. But I can't do it on Apple. It's just too much of a market darling and leader. SQ, yes, we can look at SQ. SQ, we actually did buy some longer dated calls on this about a couple days ago. Basically here at the 21 EMA, we kind of bought it. It popped up here a little. It was a little bit too late. Didn't buy it exactly around the 21 EMA, but we bought it this day around price the 122, $121 price target. Actually, towards the end of the day, it was a little bit higher. On that bounce play, it's been performing very well. We're not going full position due to the fact of earnings on the horizon, so be mindful of that there. Christopher, and I believe Chad, who also said on SQ there, potentially we're really looking to see this play out like PayPal did. So we're looking to kind of break above that 133 price target to potentially go higher. We can look at some initial price targets within that here. So the Fibonacci swing low to swing high, looking really for around 140. That is pretty aggressive there, but with earnings on the horizon, we're looking for a $13 move. That is pretty much, I wouldn't say in the cards, but it's pretty close in the cards to kind of get to that price target from there. The Nikola reminds me of the Tiger King. Oh God, I can't get that image out of my head now. Thank you, my friend. On that note, on Tiger King and SQ analysis, guys, I have to get my beauty sleep. I really do appreciate everyone coming out. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Definitely stay tuned for the live stream coming out on Sunday, and I hopefully to see everyone there. We'll be looking at the upcoming earnings and different plays going out from there. I really do appreciate it, and we will be taking a look there. Okay, last one, Sean. Hey man, just leaving work now. I loaded the boat on Intel calls, either Lambos or blood you take. So with Intel, we're really looking for this is my last one for sure. Intel, we're really looking for that to kind of stop bleeding. Yes. So bleeding in the sense of those moving averages haven't stopped curling down. They're still pointing down. They need to start curling up, start really stabilizing, and start kind of going into like a parallel mode into the overall between these bars here. Looking for potential consolidation around the $49, even down to $47 price target. If the ticks can't really consolidate in between these the next week or so, or even start rising higher to kind of stop this bleeding of the moving averages, we could potentially see down to 45. It's very difficult for me to tell you to buy things. It's kind of a falling knife. So it's still a falling knife in my book, because you're not seeing a potential base building and kind of consolidating from that overall blow that it currently has seen. Alright guys, that is it. I am calling it a night there. Thank you everyone for coming out again, and I already said all the stuff you should do. Yeah. Alright guys, stay safe. I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.